But yeah, no, this is your visual nausea update. If this game bothers you already, don't watch. I don't mean that as an unkindness. I mean that as a warning. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to do me a favor. Jump back in time for a minute. It's 2007, okay? And you're like, man, I hate video games. The last year of video games was just terrible. Like, all the crap came out in 2006, right? Like Sonic 06. And we're going to end that list right there, because it's the only game of worth that came out in 06. So, then we move on to 2007. Okay, what do we got in 2007? We've got Modern Warfare 1, Halo 3, God of War 2, Team Fortress 2, Metroid Prime 3. Lego was really starting to get its own thing going on. A whole bunch of games are coming out. Assassin's Creed came out that year. Mass Effect came out that year. Witcher 1 came out that year. Uncharted 1 came out that year. Portal came out that year. Guinevere came out in 2007. So yeah, 2007, a lot of good games came out. But here's the really funny thing here. Oh yeah, a little-known website called Justin TV came out in 2007 as well, while we're on the subject. But yeah, so amongst all those, including several absolutely just bonkers selling games, like some of these are actual record-breaking game sales. One game came out that still, despite that competition, managed to be the 9th best-selling game of the year, which is actually really impressive when you consider some of the competition was going up against, again, as a reminder, frickin' Modern Warfare 1. Oh yeah, also Pokemon Gen 4 came out that year. So, amongst all of that, the 9th best-selling game of the year was Mario Galaxy 1. And you might say, that's kind of low, but no, considering the juggernauts it's up against, that's actually pretty high. And actually, if we do one of those adjust for reality kind of a things, if you look, because we can look at the top 9 list, and at the very top of the list is Wii Sports, which is a cheat. Wii Sports didn't actually sell that well. Wii Sports was bundled with the Wii, and the Wii sold bonkers, so we can just eject that from the list immediately. That also gets rid of the 4th game on the list, which is Wii Play. So we just knock both of those off the list, and that immediately pushes Mario Galaxy up to the 7th. Then before that, we have 2 games which are functionally cheating. We've got FIFA 08 and Pro Evolution Soccer 08, which they have their own issues and they have their own problems, which we won't get into right now, but they also were being sold on a tremendous number of platforms, just like Modern Warfare 1. And so they don't really get the same counting that they otherwise do, which pushes Mario Galaxy even further up the list, which would make the overall list, if we adjust this for reality, the best-selling game of the year being Pokemon Gen 4, then Halo 3, then Modern Warfare 1, and then Mario Galaxy. And that's not an unimpressive list. Oh, also, the one right after that would be Mario Party 8. Anyways, hell of a year for gaming. We've actually played this exact version of this game before, but unfortunately it was before the Oblivion line. Not too far before, but it was definitely before. And it was using different systems, so here we are. Bit of an audit run of Galaxy 1 and 2. I find Galaxy to be a fascinating game. This is definitely a Star Wars game. While Mario 64 was pretty much every single talented person at Nintendo coming together to make Mario 64, and Mario Sunshine was a colossal screw-up at every level of the development process, Galaxy was just, nobody thought Galaxy was going to work. It was actually in development for the GameCube, and that's how long Galaxy was in production, by the way. In fact, it was in production so long, they hadn't started development of the Wii when they had already started development of Mario Galaxy. And they kept thinking, we want to go with these different things, we want to go in these different directions, and blah, 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 blah. And we really just want to make things happen, but nobody thought it was going to work. They had this brand new physics engine, which they made literally just for fun, and as a bit of a tech demo for what the GameCube could do. And they were like, let's screw with it. And so they screwed with it. And lots of different people involved in the development team, and I mean lots, like a lot of people had their fingers in this pot, including Miyamoto, but also Koizumi and Iwata was involved in this. Like, pretty much, if I name someone at Nintendo you're familiar with, they were involved in the development of this game. And there were several big hurdles. The first one was the aforementioned physics engine. But once they got that locked down, they were like, well, we've got this great physics engine, but we don't really have anything to use it with. It's just not going to work for something like Sunshine or 64. And they had this completely unrelated thing that didn't even have Mario attached. It was just an other thing, which was the spheroid thing. Okay? And this spherical platform concept was what they were thinking of. And they all looked at this, and they said, hold on, we're stupid. And hadn't actually sent the message. I already typed it up and everything. Thank you, Lord Harriman. They looked at this spheroid concept. They said, well, why don't we attach that to this Mario project? And everyone said, that's stupid. And I'm not kidding. Everyone said that was a dumb idea and that it would never work. But they decided to go ahead and push forward anyways, because one of the things that Nintendo's core team, the EAD team, always has pushed for is the idea of, let's just try it and see what happens. They're okay with burning money on R&D in development. And not a lot of game developers do that, so credit to them on that front. So they just said, screw it. This is a dumb, terrible idea. Let's go around with it for a bit, and when it doesn't work, we'll figure something else out. One of the biggest reasons in these interviews, and I actually read several interviews about Galaxy this morning, one of the biggest reasons they said they like to do this approach is that it means that even if the idea they're working on doesn't work, usually it provokes thought. So even if they're working on a failed concept, it might allow them to do something that might then actually work. So they sat down and started working with it. And as they were actually developing it, they were like, hang on. This is cool. Nobody expected it to be. And like they were handing it off to certain people and they were like, hang on, hey, here, could you look at this? Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, come on, a spheroid Mario game? That'll never work. And they would sit down and play the demo and they're like, well, but this is cool. They had to invent a completely new camera system just to make this game possible to play. But because of the spheroid space, it was actually easier to do than develop the camera they did for Mario Sunshine. Because there was nothing really in the way of the camera. No collision. No, I can't remember what that's called. No vectors to despawn or anything like that. It was just, nope, here you are. And so they just had to design the camera to follow the player in a way that felt smart. And once they did that, I was like, well, this feels kind of fun. And they started messing with it. They added more power-ups and more checkpoints into the game to try and actually lower the overall frustration factor of the game to make it more accessible. But then that allowed them to then mess with the levels themselves to make them harder, to try and appeal to people who wanted more of a challenge in the game. And they just kind of started going in this weird direction with it, which ended up working. My favorite anecdote about this, it's actually one of the most common anecdotes about Mario Galaxy in general, is a gentleman named Mahito Yokota, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong, is the person who composed the music for this game and for Galaxy 2. You may know him as the composer for this game and for Galaxy 2. It's pretty much the only stuff he's ever really worked on. Like, he's done a couple of other Nintendo things, like Treasure Tracker and some individual songs and other Mario titles, but no, he's known for Galaxy 1 and Galaxy 2. He was brought in to do these things. Kondo wasn't 100% out of the company, but he was kind of like just supervising music at this point. And there's a wonderful interview about this. Kondo told Yokota, just do whatever you want to. And Yokota decided to make this very fun, silly, what they describe as cute music, aka music that you would see on a cartoon show, music that you kind of see on a kid's show. And Kondo listened to it and said, this is junk. And everyone's like, I'm sorry, what? The guy actually almost quit over this, by the way, because he had already composed a huge chunk of songs, like over 20 songs, and he was being told, nah, you got to throw it all away. And by the way, hashtag relatable. Anybody who's ever worked on a project ever and then gone to the customer and the customer's like, yeah, but can you redo everything? Right? I'm sure at least some of you in chat have experienced that before. Well, I experienced that in school. Anyway, so he almost quit over that, but Kondo's like, hang on. Don't quit. Let's talk about attitude. Let's talk about atmosphere. Let's talk about tone. Because you're trying to make this for kids, but Mario isn't for kids. It's for everybody. And that resonated with me in a weird way, because I agree with that. You know, mainline Mario games are kind of unique in that their target audience is everybody, regardless of age range, regardless of gender, regardless of role or position or financial status. Mario games are designed to be, at their fundamental core, fun and appeal to all audiences. And that's harder to do than that sounds. It probably should act, maybe not all, but like most, but just that's actually kind of bonkers to think about. So Kondo gave him the same mentality. Like, look, you can't just make this a kid's game. You have to make this a game. You have to make the music fit the gameplay. And so Yokota took this to heart and did two things that were considered bonkers at the time. First and foremost, he dragged out he designed the music to follow the beat of your footsteps as if you're running the whole time. They literally had a metronome in the orchestra when they were doing some of the initial run-throughs to make sure that the tempo was being kept to where it should be in order to match the player's gameplay and movements. And if you've ever played Galaxy, that's probably prompting a, oh yeah, because it does, doesn't it? It's not perfect, obviously, because you can do all kinds of stuff with the gameplay. But if you're ever just moving around, you'll notice that the beat, the tempo, is pretty much designed to match your movements. But second of all, I already gave this away, they did an orchestra. They wanted to have a completely different style to the sound. Now, that wasn't the original idea. Originally, they did the same thing they always do, which is to go to pull digital samples and to go ahead and have certain aspects of sampling and modding. Modding is correct. Tracker music instead of MIDI music or MP3 music or whatever else. And that just didn't work. They kept struggling with it and struggling with it. No matter what they came out with, it just didn't sound right. And so Yokota was like, screw it. I have access to all the resources of Nintendo, right? And he was told, yes. And so he said, okay, I want to pull this into an orchestra. I want to hear this with real instruments. And everyone was like, that's insane. and no, this is actually recorded. I actually have it written down somewhere, the specific orchestra that did this. Blah, 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 blah. Of course, it doesn't have it listed here. I was just looking at this. I'm sorry, give me a second. It is a real orchestra. It's real people playing real instruments live. Now, there is a layer on top of that, which I'll talk about in a second, which is kind of brilliant the way they did this. Are you not going to name the orchestra? Seriously, you're not going to name the orchestra? Hang on, let me pull up the actual interview again really quick here. They're not going to name the orchestra. Oh my god. Whatever. It was an orchestra of 50 real people who actually sat down in a freaking studio that they rented for this purpose. The cool thing I was about to get into, before I lost track of where I was completely, I swear they named the damn thing, is that, I don't care how it is. The cool thing is that what they did was what they had everyone play through the music, and then they had a couple of other people who were essentially off to the side playing what could only be called another version of the song. The Mario Galaxy Orchestra. Is that actually what they called themselves? And there's actually a video footage of it. Holy crap. I guess that would explain it, because the way they were talking about it is that I hate you so much as it is they were talking about how they essentially had to kind of invent this on the fly. But anyways, I'm getting way off track. They had separate people recording the Yoshi drums. I'm just going to summarize. Mario Galaxy 1 has several aspects of Yoshi drums. And so several songs, I can attest to this because I've actually worked with Mario Galaxy music myself. Several songs have layers to them. And funnily enough, this isn't the beginnings of Yoshi drums for Nintendo, but this might as well be the beginnings of Yoshi drums for Nintendo. Because while they would do Yoshi drums and have done Yoshi drums all the way back to Mario World, which predates this game by over a decade, this started a trend. Because usually Yoshi drums were used as just kind of a fun little thing to indicate a different mode, like being on Yoshi, or being above the water or below the water in Mario 64. But from this point onwards, from this game onwards, they would use one song which has different variances depending on which point or stage you're at in a development. This would then seep over into the Zelda series. This is in Mario Galaxy 2. This is in Mario Odyssey. Yeah, like kind of a renaissance or reinvention of the Yoshi Drums concept, because they started really running with the Yoshi Drums concept here, no pun intended, and really using it. And it's funny how many entirely huge songs have multiple different versions. The most obvious example of this is Mario Odyssey, which doesn't do this the same way. But in Mario Odyssey, there is an 8-bit version of every song alongside a fully fleshed out version of every song, and the two play functionally side by side. And other stuff like that, right? It's really cool the way they did it, too. But anyways, like I said, they had another group of people recording that part of it, so then they could just kind of digitally, because each mic was separate, so they could just kind of digitally compose it, that is to say, combine it wherever it needed to be. Anyways, I spent way too much time talking about the music here. So the point here being, nobody thought orchestral music would work. Nobody thought the spheroid platforming would work. Nobody thought that this was actually going to be able to run on the GameCube. And then when they pushed up to the Wii, nobody thought it would be ready in time for the Wii. Like everybody at every level of every line of development thought this wasn't going to work. When it finally came out, Galaxy kind of smashed everyone in the face. It isn't exactly the best-selling game, of course, because there's other games. 2007 was a hell of a year, after all. But Mario Galaxy has had a... I just said that, Mr. Ed. Mario Galaxy has had a hell of an impact on gaming in general, and Nintendo in specific. Because from Galaxy onwards, the development teams and how they develop their games fundamentally changed, and has actually never returned back to the way things used to be. Probably for the better, because, no offense to the classics, but this is when the 3D Marios actually get good. We'll talk about the story, too, don't worry. Every 100 years, a comet appears in the skies above the Mushroom Kingdom. The comet was so large one year, it filled the skies and sent countless shooting stars raining down. The Toads brought the shooting stars to the castle, where they became a great power star. It should have been a very happy time for the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom. That was the night of the Star Festival, held once every 100 years to celebrate the comet, unlike in EU4.
Dear Mario, I'll be waiting for you at the castle on the night of the Star Festival. There's something I'd like to give you. From Peach.
It's sex. She's gonna give him sex. Look, I'd want to have sex with Peach, too. I'm totally cool with it. Have you seen those hips? So, yeah, let's just get this out of the way. The game looks good. The game feels good. The game has good lighting. The game has better lighting, like, fundamentally. They did one other weird little thing. One weird trick Nintendo developers hate him for. And that's that you didn't have to hit a button to talk to somebody. I know that sounds like such a minor thing, but actually it's a huge quality of life improvement for certain types of games. Because it means you can just walk up to someone and get their chatter, right? This is actually something I believe we talked about over in Baldur's Gate 3, where that was a topic worthy of discussion. You just walk up and they're like, "Hi." Some people you can actually talk with. But like the background banter, just the NPCs filling out the zones, you just wander by them, and they just say something. Everyone's grabbing all the star bits they can, and here's a tutorial on how to do so. Which, by the way, has infinite range. As long as it's rendered, you can grab it. You know, maybe the Mushroom Kingdom should invest in a military. I'm just saying. Princess Peach, you are formally invited. to the creation of my new galaxy. So, the plot of this game is silly. Let's just get that out of the way. Princess kidnapped, go rescue her. That's pretty much the plot. But what's weird about Galaxy 1 is it had a story focus that was kind of unheard of at the time, which caused some problems under the hood. One of the arguments that was being leveled was that story has no place in a Mario game. In fact, if you've ever heard the infamous Miyamoto quote about how Mario games shouldn't have a story, you have heard it in relation to the game we're playing now. That would have a knock-on effect of several other games over the course of the years, including most infamously the Mario & Luigi series, although that's more complicated than it sounds. Miyamoto doesn't get credit for that, if that makes any sense. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Point being, several of the developers and directors of Mario Galaxy were like, no, we want to drift into story. We want to have a backstory and a world building, and we want to establish new characters. Rosalina is being added to the roster of the series at this point. And Miyamoto didn't like any of that. And notice the way I phrase that. I suppose this would be true in most places, but Miyamoto, it's worth noting, isn't actually the director of this game or the producer or anything like that. Miyamoto pretty much just kind of he has like a non-official advisory board position. He has, even at this point for some time, that's still true to this very day. He gets involved and people listen to him, but he's not a direct reporting line to anybody. He's not actually in charge of any projects. And he honestly has spent most of his time on his baby, which is Pikmin. The thing is, he's still Miyamoto. And so people tend to consult him about every freaking thing. And, you know, fair enough. And people also tend to listen to him about every freaking thing. So when Miyamoto says, I don't like this, people listened to that. So several core Nintendo games had a hard shift away from story in direct reaction to his not liking that in Mario Galaxy 1. Eventually, they would ignore him and drift back into story, but that is the kind of thing that wouldn't hit the Mario series until Odyssey. The Roddenberry effect. You know? I mean, did you know that the Roddenberry box wasn't even coined by Roddenberry? It was by people who listened to him when he was no longer in charge of Star Trek. There you go, 10 years. It took them 10 years to crawl out of that hole. Don't mistake me, I'm not expecting a perfect story from a Mario game. But at the same time, you cannot tell me a Mario game would not benefit from having a really good story. Because you're wrong. No offense. I don't say that very often, but any game can benefit from having a really good story. I mean, frankly, we're seeing that right now. Everything about this cutscene, we'll show this when we get to the 2D block. 2D Mario cutscenes are Bowser shows up and goes, "Mwah!" and then kidnaps the princess. We've been here for like 10 minutes. You know, the intro with the storybook, the festival, everyone's celebrating, then the Koopa fleet attacks, and then Bowser makes his speech, and then we run up to the castle, and then Bowser stealing the castle. They're putting effort into the story axis of this game, and I do think it's better for it. Presentation, Mr. Red. Presentation. I bang on that point so often.
Yeah.
Finally, you're awake. Let's play. So, can I just say, I like to play a game with you guys with these games. And I would love to know what your favorite song is in this game. I know mine. But I bring that up because, like, probably my third or so favorite song in this game is this one. This is actually on my sleep playlist. So I'm going to pause for a second because I want to talk for just a moment. I mean, I don't want to talk, but I like gushing. Is that okay? I've had a lot of negativity in my life over the last, like, 7 months or whatever the hell it's been. So is it okay if I just gush for a minute? I talk about the narrative side of things, and obviously a good and engaging plot and fascinating characters and world building are like the three big things that people think of when they come to story. And that's fine because those are meat, right? Those are core, central, obvious, duh stuff. But there's other aspects of storytelling which I feel like get undervaluated. Story sequencing is something I talk about all the time that most people don't even think about. The connecting threads of how you get from point A to point C to point D. And then there's density, there's filler, there's padding, there's pacing, all kinds of things about how the story goes. So what do we start off with? We start somber. We have the storybook, and a legitimately sad song is playing. That's interesting and makes perfect sense in hindsight, but when you're playing for the first time, you're probably thinking, why is that sad? Why is there such a quiet song playing for something that sounds like such a celebration? Now, this makes sense considering the one who's reading the book. I'm not going to spoil that right now, but you get my point. So that makes perfect sense. That's logical. That's well thought out. Next thing we see is the festival itself, with Peach inviting Mario to go have tons and tons of sex with her. And that then goes into the bright, happy, cheery, like the festival song and the bright lights. And there's star bits just raining down all over the place. And it's bright and happy and fun. And it raises the tone right up, which is then immediately followed through on by the attack, which keeps the tone up. The tone doesn't change. The pacing doesn't change. Instead, it just shifts color, shifts spectrum from to so now we're under attack. Everything's on fire. Toad's running around screaming. There's doomy music playing. Bowser rips it off the thing. Kamek attacks us and sends us flying. And there's a moment. And then we come to this. Come on, game. And really take this moment in for a second. Because it's not just the music that's peaceful. Really take in the visuals of what you're seeing on the screen for just a second. Think about how much time and effort and care went into crafting this image, the first thing you'd see when you finally get to what is functionally actual gameplay. You've got that kind of like horizon, that aura thing going on right there in the distance, which looks gorgeous, honestly. And then you've got just deep blue stars, peaceful stars, all in the distance. Yeah, very Outer Wilds kind of look. Yeah, you can kind of see like the atmosphere of that a little bit. And then you've got green, good patterning on the grass, by the way. And then a ring of white flowers, different flowers, and then a ring of yellow flowers and these stones. And all of this forms this picture here. This art style looks simple, but very well crafted. And so we have good pacing, because both visually and audibly, this is a moment to allow the player to take a breather. So, I obviously played this game several times, including about 3 years ago. So I kind of know the controls, but this is very, very important for the player to have a moment to actually figure out how to play the game, because it plays differently, and it's hard to really explain unless you've played this. But the nature of how your controls interact with where you're facing kind of varies based on where you're at in relative to the physics. Like here, for example, because this is something you can do in this game, just like this. And you can just play the game like this on several levels, and honestly, in some cases, you have to. Not always, but it is something you can do. So, getting used to that is exactly the purpose of this. You'll notice, by the way, a little trick they use. I mentioned they had to kind of design a new camera. One of the tricks is the camera has a generic sense of, I forget what it's called, plane? A plane line. So there's kind of, even though it doesn't apply to Mario or the world that we're going in, there is kind of a line of up and down that the camera acknowledges and walks through. So instead of the camera just following Mario like this, no matter where you go, the camera stays here and then starts pointing down, right? So the camera still has a concept of up and of down. And that's there to help ease the player into this concept, because if the camera just followed Mario from what Nintendo EAD playtests the ever-living snot out of their games. Players were getting confused when the camera just followed Mario directly. Because I don't know why, but honestly, probably because most human beings don't really have what it takes to navigate a fully three-dimensional space. Right, that's not what we're programmed for. So they do these little kind of tricks to be like, here you go. We'll kind of give you an edge. It's brilliant the amount of work and thought that was put into just making this game playable. Now, I'm going to stop gushing for 5 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Just jump to this ledge. Yeah! Thud. Death. Or discovery, which is also death. Desynchronization. So this is the introduction of Rosalina, the best female character in the series,
Ooh.
Luma can give you this power. I will entrust you with his character. Actually, I want to pause for a moment, and I want you to look at Rosalina. No, not like that. Rosalina is kind of brilliant in how she's designed. I wish that glow wasn't there right now. But she's designed very clearly to inspire, like, Peach, but not. And the more you look at her, the less Peach she is. But at a glance, you just see Princess Peach, right? And I know a lot of players, when they first play this game, they're like, what's up with Peach? And then she says, no, my name's Rosalina. And again, the longer you look at her, the more you can tell that, no, she has a different body type. She has a different general construction of where her hips are, where her how long her legs are. The nature of her hair and how she holds it. The way she holds her body language is completely different. Like, she is actually very fundamentally differently designed, even though she looks like Peach. It's a neat little touch. So, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I'm not going to give a negative because I don't have to do the frickin' waggle in this game. I can just hit a damn button. Thank you, game. Did you notice the audio and visual cue for the cooldown on your attack, by the way? Listen for it. And then, of course, there's the visuals. In fact, there's several visuals. There's the spin, the circle comes back in, and you flash briefly. So there's several things indicating to you that you have the attack back. Yes, it's undeniable. We're detecting a Power Star energy pattern in the nearest system. I must warn you, the evil energy readings are off the charts! Oh yeah, Bowser is legitimately evil in Mario Galaxy 1. For some reason, I don't know. Yeah, this is probably the second most experimental Mario game that's ever been. I'm probably wrong about that. There's probably some random esoteric game that failed miserably that's actually more. This is your job, chat. You have to now prove me wrong. And be like, well, hang on, you missed one. Yeah, imagine living on this planet. This is your life now. What do you export? Boulders. Oh, so they have, like, valuable minerals? No, they're just boulders. Hey, you. Yeah, you. You got any tasty star bits? If you feed me a bunch of them, I'll burst with snacky happiness and then transform. 100. Do we have 100? We do. These are usually optional little side stuff. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Don't worry about it. I should probably talk about this ability. See that spin? So, not only does the spin halt your momentum and your inertia wherever you are at the time, so you just kind of stall a little bit whenever you do that. On purpose, it's a way to kind of you prevent yourself from falling or to catch yourself or whatever. I'm curious of yours, Eon Dragon. If you don't mind sharing, I'll share mine. So it's a way to do it, but it also gives you a little bit of height, and it functions a little bit as a double jump. So it's your attack, it's your double jump, it gets you a little bit of extra height, and it's funny to think about because originally it didn't exist in the game. They were like, all right, what are we gonna do with this? Well, because the developers were trying to figure out a way to do movement tech, because if you've been paying any kind of attention, Mario 64 had a bunch of moves you could do, and that was the kit, that was the power-ups for 64, which was a bit of a new paradigm for them. Then when they got to Sunshine, they had most of the same kit from 64, but then they added Flood on top of that, which was freaking awesome. It's probably the best decision they made gameplay-wise in Sunshine. But then they came to Galaxy and like, what the hell do we do with Galaxy? And so they decided to give us pretty much all the same movement kit, but they did two things to vary it up a little bit. Thing one is they added actual honest-to-God power-ups, which they would design entire stages around, instead of making them like, use this power-up to get this star, kind of, you know, the whole stage is based around them. But the second thing they did was this, and I know that sounds like such a minor thing, but you have to understand, it was the perfect decision for navigating what is functionally a truly 3D space. being able to do things like this, in order to, it just changes the spread. I've talked before when it comes to designing platformers, how if you look physically at the space that you can interact with, you can map where the player can access, right? I talked about this with regards to Mega Man 3, which, even though it sounds like a joke, the introduction of Rush to Mega Man 3 was kind of a sea change in where the player could access. Because Mega Man, whose jump capacity is usually way down here, all of a sudden can go up and do this kind of a thing. And so the level design could then change in order to accommodate that additional moveset, that additional painted area that the player could access. It's the same thing here. Within a 3D space, you could do this, but with that little up, all of a sudden that like increases by a factor, because we're talking about a full 3D sphere of accessible terrain, and now it just goes out another layer, which is huge. It was a great idea. It was a great idea, and I think it adds to the overall kit of the game in a way that is worthy of its own positive. Yeah, so the B power-up, I don't know why this is such a commonly reported story, but I saw like 3 separate interviews about this. Apparently, all of the women developers insisted that they make a B power-up this time around. All of the female staff and Nintendo EAD, they're like, okay, we're thinking about power-ups, what do you want? And everyone's like, B! We want a B! Give us a B! And it was such an overwhelming demand that they pretty much were like, alright, let's do it. B power-up. Let's make it happen. Who might you be? A physician, we presume? No matter, we are in the most vexing predicament and require your assistance. The most furious itchiness plagues our entire being. It must be stopped! Find the source at once. Yep, so we're gonna do something that's not at all suggestive. Don't care what the internet says about it. We're just gonna crawl around on the Queen's body for a minute. This is Captain Toad. Captain Toad was someone they introduced here, and would show up as a gimmick and a cameo multiple times, until in the 3D World game on the Wii U, he would start having his own mini-games you could do, little mini-puzzles, which were weirdly popular, probably because they were awesome. Yeah, I believe you can reach this star without it, but I could be wrong about that. So, as a consequence, look, it's fine! I mean, seriously, a giant bee would be pretty terrifying. So, Captain Toad's awesome. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you haven't played Treasure Tracker, I highly recommend it. Hang on, I just want to be clear. Are you asking me if this game right here is a great game? Yes, it is. Alright, back to the game. Okay. I'll accept that. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's because I'm an old man, but what helps me be rested is regular sleep, not, you know, more sleep. I mean, why wouldn't... You say that like there's something wrong with snorting stars, Morgantus. Are you shaming? Is that what's going on here? Look, we all need something to get through the day, okay? Some people play video games, some people drink, some people smoke, some people snort power stores. What's the issue here? We all need something. No, I made an actual effort, Kronsler. I mean, you know me, of course I... Of course I made an actual effort. Sorry, that's just... That's... Wow. There's another coyote time, if you're paying attention to that. Oh, almost bad as that one. Yeah, I'm looking for a button. I'm not sure where the button is. Although, if you want to see Mario, did you know that Mario's secretly a gummy person? It's okay, I hate your landlord too, Krensler. Because your landlord is a landlord. And therefore, by logical and human definition, they're an evil person. Alright, so... Yeah, look at, like, the skybox here. That's just... whatever. Anyways. Hello, Evo. So... I love the tutorialization. I know I keep banging on about how great the tutorialization is, but shut up. So, they specifically make sure that you land on a switch, so that you can hear and see the distinction as soon as you land. So even if you have no idea what this kind of stage is, you understand the goal pretty much immediately. Exactly, Undragon. It's I guess what I'm trying to say is, as much as it sounds like a bad thing, the fact that the game does like 6 separate things to indicate, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, is a good thing. Remember, this game is supposed to appeal to everybody at every age range. So they need to make sure a 5-year-old and a 95-year-old actually understands how to play this game and understands how to do the levels. And by the way, I'm not making that number up. That's their official number range. They want everyone from 5 to 95 to play their game. Your silliness is over. Ugh. I'm gonna laugh if Galaxy 2 is ported to the Switch 2 in like 4 months at this point, would be the target range for that. Your dehydration. Sweep. Sweep, 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 sweep. Points if you get it. The whole Mandibug clan has infested our kingdom. We must kill them. Kill the bugs that aren't us, because they're not us, and that means they deserve to die. They're different from us. That means they can't be trusted. Also, I just want to mention something amusing. So, as part of my spiel earlier, I jokingly mentioned that the year 2006 sucked for video games, which is obviously not true and just being done for humor's sake. I then saw someone in my comment section defending 06 from a perspective of games that came out in 06. So I guess I can't make fun of anything anymore. I apologize for that. You know, Noctis is right. Mario Bros. 3 angered PETA. It's always a good thing. Hashtag screw PETA. And yeah, if you ever wonder why Pokemon is awesome, it's not because it's a great game or with amazing, like, core content or surprisingly in-depth gameplay or fun, lighthearted world or an interesting and silly setting. No. It's none of that. It's because Pokemon pissed off PETA. Yeah, guess the name of the orchestra, DBD. Go ahead, guess. If you're still there, which you might not be. I wouldn't blame you for not watching me, of all people. Who the hell would watch me, for God's sakes? You could be watching a woman in a bikini not doing anything right now. And you could give her money. Or you could watch a dude who's just watching other people's YouTube videos without saying anything. He's just watching other people's YouTube videos. Think about that. That could be yours. Right now. No, in a strip club you could give her money and she might actually acknowledge that you exist. Also, no shaming, but like, am I the only one who finds strip clubs like just weirdly uncomfortable and awkward? Is that just me? That's just me, isn't it? Alright. So anyways, Mario Galaxy, right? Don't clip that. That's a good question, Federation Builder. I've already answered that question before. So I'm going to require you to go back through my gargantuan mythos of videos and watch every single one of them to find the one time, actually twice, that I've talked about that. Go on, I'll be here. You can skip cutscenes in this, by the way. What's your excuse every other game ever made? That would be funny if that was the actual in-lore reason. Or, I guess, in real-life reason. So, sir, why have you decided to make your cutscenes mandatory and unskippable in your game? They're just too good to skip. You don't understand. There is no excuse, under any circumstances, for someone to not watch our cutscenes every time they play the game. Well, I'm dead. It's time to bleed all the life out. I've had too many lives. It's time to get rid of all of them. Why did that happen? Okay. Like I said, we gotta get rid of our... I'm just burning through lives. It's like tax season, you know? You gotta be unprofitable so you spend less on taxes. Hey, it's your favorite star. Trash disposal. Yay. It's okay, all we have to do is do this perfectly and in only a few seconds, otherwise we'll die. Fear not, I will save you, little Luma. All the chain chomps. Why are there so many chain chomps here? Are they trapped here? If I free them, can they, like, do something for me? What are you do with an army of chain chops? Oh my gosh! I didn't mean to destroy their entire planet, but, you know, whatever. Science of death in all directions! As you can see. It's okay, mid-mission checkpoints. Which I need to write down if I haven't. Oh, did I just die? That's really funny. Alt-tab to write something down, and I instantly die. This is my norm. Hey. You know, Bowser, we need to talk to you about your fire fixation. It's not healthy. We're worried about you. Bowser. No. Okay. That's. Yep. This is what I was worried about, honestly. Thank you for proving my point. You know, you're just destroying your own stage, Bowser. This is your level that you are blowing up to get to me. You finally made it. I'm evil. Just in time for me to stomp you into space bits. Not regular bits, because you see, this Mario game is in space. I'm ready, Ross. I'm ready. This is it. I'm prepared to kill Ross once and for all. And that way he won't have to watch me play Breath of Fire 2! It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it. Yeah, Odyssey is... For those of you not aware, Odyssey got something... We'll talk about this more when we get there, but Odyssey had something happen to it which was very, very unique for gaming. It got pushed back. Not because, like, they were having production issues, just because they thought they could put more polish into the game. They looked at the game and they said, it's good enough to release, but the dev team thought they could improve the game even more. And so they did. Because that's how Nintendo operates. So they pushed out Breath of the Wild first instead, and they sat down with Odyssey. And that is exactly what happened with Dread, actually. So they sat down with Odyssey and they said, let's really pour ourselves into that, and it's frickin' Odyssey. The dating sim, the Kentucky Fried Chicken dating sim, Mr. Red. I would make it the theme song of every time one of your rivals shows up, Mr. Red. That's how I would do that. Like your rival shows up. Yeah, I would be her guest star. I'd just show up here on the stream. Hey, kiddo, what are you streaming? Minecraft. Oh, I remember Minecraft. Yeah, I'd be cranky lore. Back in my day, we had to craft mines manually. So this is a cool gimmick. Check this out. I remember when Minecraft was nothing but blocks.
Books.
Blocks.
And Minecraft.
Oh, okay. So you want to hear something funny? So, the last time I streamed this game, which was 3.5, 4 years ago, something like that now, it was a while ago. I asked a question, and then got distracted by having to do a difficult platforming section. And then I couldn't remember what I asked. So, I asked chat, hey, what did I just ask? So I could just... And I was expecting just a quick prompt. I'd be, right, that's what I said, and then we could move on quickly. Nobody in chat could tell me what I had just said. Because nobody was paying attention to me. Now, shrug, right? Like, people got their own things going on and whatever. But the reason I remember that so clearly is that was one of the most severe depressive episodes I have ever had while streaming. I almost quit streaming that day because of that. Because that just hit me right across the jaw. Yeah, no, you know what the feeling is, right? It applies in a lot of ways. If you spend a lot of time and effort and work on something, on like a party, or on, I don't know, a painting or a picture or something. Yeah, exactly. It's the screaming into the void. No one cares. No one noticed. No one bothered to pay attention to the thing you just poured your heart and soul into. That tends to get to me, and it probably shouldn't, but it super does. So that was an interesting day. It's actually one of the reasons why I try to make it a point to respond to people, even if it's just a simple, you know, cool or neat or whatever. when people put things out there, like in the Creative Endeavors channel on the Discord. In fact, I actually have a similar story very recently. I was showing part of the X-stand to my biological mother, and her response was to tell me that she wanted me to stop talking to her about it because it was so boring. I actually stopped working on the X-stand for the better part of a couple of years because of that. Wholesale. And when I say talking about the X-stand, I want to mention, like, you know the vibe, right? I'm just saying, like, okay, so there's this and this and that, and this character goes in this way, and this goes over this way. This guy's going to do this thing, but you know that tone, right? That's how I was telling her about where I was at with the X-stand at that point in time. And, that was her reaction to that. I was not super enthused about that reaction. Not gonna lie. Nope. Oh, that freaking Goomba! Did you see? You didn't see that. That's okay. Yeah, we got the beer goggles on. Oh man, this level looks so good. That's true. Revenge is bad. I wouldn't have known that if not for The Last of Us 2. Taught life lessons there. Listen, revenge is wackio. You get revenge and it's like the best feeling in the world. You're like, oh man, that was so satisfying. Okay. Now what? What do you think? I will just, you know, and then you get addicted to it, you know? You're just like, oh yes. Yes, more revenge. And then you just kind of, you're down on the docks doing tricks for revenge. Because you need your hit, your latest fix of revenge. That actually sounds funny. Somebody gets addicted to revenge. You have to make new revenge if you run out. You just hang out there like, yeah, what's going on? Oh, you splashed water on me. Revenge. Vendetta. Yes, for 3 years I will seek my revenge. And then I have it, and it's like, oh, okay. So now to pursue my real passion. Croquet, of course. Oh my god, getting the greedy trait was just the worst thing for my playthrough. Okay, so coconuts are water soluble. Who knew? And yeah, and it increases stress, and so I had to find a way to get rid of stress. Oh god, it was such a thing. Alright, here we go. No! They suicided. Thanks, YouTube. This is your fault. So, when the first adpocalypse hit, YouTube started locking down on certain types of VODs and videos, and started demonetizing certain one of them. In my experience, since I don't actually monetize on YouTube, because, duh, I found that deliberately ensuring that something in my video would automatically not be accidentally flagged as kid-friendly and then cause damage to my channel, if I just said suicide, nice and verbally on the channel, they would always be like, oh, that's for adults, that's not for kids. Because I cover games like this one, which morons would think is for kids only, and therefore would qualify as kids content, which follows under different rules and would be a mess, and would just be damaging to my channel. So, that's where that comes from. Oh my god, I am eel prepared for your puns, Evo. Or should I say, Elo? I should not say eel. That would be silly. Because I am a very silly person. Ah! Okay. I allow you to clip that one. That's okay. Does that look like a Pokeball to you?
I want to.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much the reaction I was expecting. These are very eel-advised puns, I agree. I always want your thoughts! No! Evo. Scariest thing in Mario? Probably one of the optional the optional.
Thanks.
One of the new character bosses unique to the RPG series. without spoiling, in Mario and Luigi 1, Mario and Luigi 2, Mario and Luigi 3, Paper Mario 2, Super Paper Mario, and I think we'll stop there. Most of the actual villains of those games are actually evil. Oh, and Super Mario RPG, obviously, who started the whole thing. Those villains are actually evil, which is usually done in contrast to Bowser, who's just like, and then the actually evil villain is over there being like, I am going to murder this puppy. And Bowser's like, what are you doing? What the crap? Punch, you know. It's one of the reasons Bowser is so often either a deliberate or unintentional ally. Mario, I'm a mail toad, and I have a letter for you. How did Peach send me mail through the... Also, so yeah, I just referenced the star. This is gonna suck. I'm gonna die so many times here. Place your bets. How many deaths do you think this is gonna take? My niece says 8 million. It's not actually timed, it's just faster. Let's see. Having said that, let's ask an alternate question. Let's say they decide to include one of the actually villainous villains from the Mario RPG series. Who do you think would be the best pick to bring to the big screen? Dementia was already mentioned by Rax just a minute ago. Smithy is certainly a pick too. And Fawful would have a hell of a presence. That's 3 really good picks immediately. We got a lot we can work with there. And we could even go in the direction of leaning onto the Shadow Queen if we want to go full Eldritch Horror with it. Sorry, not Eldritch, demonic horror. Ladies and gentlemen, I suck at video games. And Darkrai wins. I'm not joking when I say that's one of the harder ones in the whole game. Not the hardest. I'll point that out when we get there. But that's a mean star. I cannot believe I got that first try. Honestly, yeah, Darkrai. Oh, come. Okay, you can clip that one. Listen, I don't want to brag or anything, but a lot of these puns are electric. As a... Ah, damn it. Did you see that nonsense? Kind of, Rax, but I'm also kind of playing Kitchen with... Kitchen? I'm playing Kitchen with Nintendo. Mr. Ed is wrong and Hitler. Alright, there we go. Whoops. So I hit the wrong button. See, Blade Ball gets it. Am I one of those cool professors? No. Now I'm one of those cool professors. For today's class, we're going to talk about explosions. Who wants to talk about cool stuff? Just like that. The lore Snorerunner became the lore Cool Runner. God, I don't know. I give up. The mentality I've had going into highlight reels is to catch anything I consider to be a highlight of the stream, but obviously it's a vague statement. To explain that, anytime I have a major screw-up, anytime I have a major success, and anytime we discuss something of worth. So if we just sit and pause and talk about how games do 3D vectoring, or we talk about the nature of how this specific game is approaching its bosses, like at the beginning of the Mario Galaxy run yesterday, we sat and talked about the opening screen. That's the kind of thing that I would put into a highlight reel. But it could be argued that I am completely wrong on that. Yeah, the gigantic grass comparison in Secret of the Stars is probably the example of that. But the problem here is that... I think what needs to be decided is, and I'm going to say this as nice as I can, I can't explain this. This makes so much sense in my head, I can't get it into words. Highlight reels take time and effort. I literally walked away from doing them myself because I no longer had the time to do them, right? So highlight reels take time and effort. That time and effort needs to be justified. is having a more digestible version of the streams is nice, but they traditionally do not get a lot of views, which means only a portion of the audience actually has a value behind the highlight reels. Now, that's not saying there's no value, but you need to weigh that value versus that cost, right? And I find myself wondering if it's just kind of either A, worth doing the reels at all, or B, worth chopping down what a reel is substantially in order to try and reduce the amount of the cost of the reel. There is, of course, a third option, but I'm not getting into that because I don't want to. The third option is to try and use the highlight reels as a marketing thing in order to, like I said, steer people towards the stream and towards the show as a whole, because this is my show, is the streaming side of things. That is something I don't want to do because I know what that would take. That's to TikTok it, just to put that as absolutely bluntly as possible. To make YouTube shorts of specific clips and very, very, very short, very edited, highlight reels designed to appeal to a crowd that I probably don't want on my show. Which is why I didn't even really mention the third option until I realized I should probably mention the third option just so you know why I'm immediately vetoing it. Listen, there's eels. You gotta understand, there's eels. We got eel problems, yo. Like, it would actually be kind of easy to turn highlight reels into a marketing thing. Because there are ways to do that. Really. Putting together like a very, 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 very short, overly edited video in the range of like 40 seconds to 2 minutes. Posting that on multiple media sites, including Blue Sky and Twitter and TikTok and Pornhub and wherever else. All of them constantly streaming towards here. All of them directing, vectoring is the word, excuse me, vectoring towards the stream. Like, that would be honestly easy. As absolutely bizarre as that sounds. I'd love for highlight reels to drive more people to the show. But realistically speaking, and the more I think about that, the more I think that's not going to happen. So I think the purpose of the highlight reels, philosophically, is for people who don't have time for the streams. Or the VODs. Because I know a lot of people who don't have time for the streams who watch the VODs regularly. Who actually, I get thank yous on a regular basis. It's one of the more positive aspects of my life that people will regularly reach out and say thank you for putting up the VODs so I can watch those and keep up to date on your content. So the highlight reel would be for the people who don't even have time for the VODs to get just the Stardew Valley, right? Or Secret of the Stars. It would be the meat content, which means major gameplay, which means what I said earlier, major gameplay discussions, major story discussions, you know, big moments, probably in the narrative if it's a game like God of War 5, or big moments gameplay-wise if it's a game like, I don't know, Dragon's Dogma, and or Mario Galaxy. And then, you know, clips, right? Like the funny fails and the funny successes. And yeah, the triple positives and the triple negatives, bingo. Because someone earlier mentioned the idea of putting pluses and negatives in the video, and I don't think that's really feasible unless I completely change how I do them, which I could. But with the current system, the best way to do that would be to only clip the really big stuff. Like if something happens that's just terrible, like, for example, we're done. That would go in a highlight reel, right? Let's say that 100 or so people decide to come from a hyper-edited highlight reel to the stream. Now, of those, very, very few of those 100 people are actually going to stick around, but what if one of them does? What if one of them becomes a regular viewer because they actually like what they see in terms of the real content? Like we're just sitting here chatting while some screensaver plays. But what if one of those people stays? That's the mentality behind the marketing idea. I don't want the 100 people. I want the people who are going to stick around. Does that make sense? I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I'm just explaining why that would be a viable strategy to do. Yeah, this is just a feel-good game. Like, I apologize for getting all real on y'all. Can I get the same contract? You're funny, Elizar. Do you know how insignificantly irrelevant I am, Elizar? If I reached out to Twitch for any reason whatsoever, there's a decent chance I wouldn't even get a response back. I might have even got... nope, hang on. I might get a canned response. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, exactly, Loner. That's exactly what it would be. It would be the worst of all worlds. I would get a canned rejection letter, and then I would never get a real response. Last time. Played this level, yeah. Listen to this boss music. If you can call it that. I'm not going to say that I disagree with you, Blateville, but you're wrong and you're Hitler! So, I thought about doing that offshore Twitch account. I haven't done that. I haven't done that, but thought about it. If you find some random mom and pop burger shop, which is right across the way from a Wendy's, statistically speaking, most people are going to go for the Wendy's. That's life. It's one of the reasons why I have resisted trying to build a larger audience for a long time, is because, while it's possible I can do that, even if I do everything right, in actually making the, doing all the things and catering to the algorithm and catering to discoverability, there's still a decent chance that I will fail at the get-go, simply because of the fact that I'm the mom and pop shop, and there's already a Wendy's across the street. I realize that sounds a little defeatist, but it's also a little bit realistic, too. And there's a little bit of cost-benefit analysis going into all that as well. I cannot believe I one-shot that. That level is ridiculous. But back when this game was available for sale, it was a heck of a steal. Oh my god, Walker. That's right, Wendy's never cuts corners. I can't even. I love how the music varies as you go throughout this stage, by the way. This might be our first triple positive stage, because this stage is just so awesome. Ignore the fact that I'm falling into lava right now. I stand by it, this stage is still awesome. Now we just sit here for a moment. Boom! Oh, and we're dead. That guy, he earned that. Oh my god. I'll take that as a highlight, because holy crap. I can make them shorts! There you go, we're finally gonna dip into YouTube Shorts. Jesus Christ. I'll just put it out on TikTok, be like, hey, it's your boy! Streaming Mario! Come watch. Or don't, that's cool too. Lord, I'll be streaming. Got me some proper drip going on. Those fools be hating, but they know I got the right. Alright, for the first 15 people who like, comment, and subscribe, I'm gonna have a giveaway. Gonna put away some Steam codes in chat. For all of my homie bomies. All you banana flavors. I turned into OG Loke. Oh my god. Buy my merch! We're selling Lorerunner shirts and mugs and plushies. Yeah. How do you do, fellow children? And the whole time I'm doing nothing but playing Fortnite and yelling and cussing. Like, actually yelling. Which you don't hear very often because I practice a lot better volume control than I used to. Banana Slamma! Oh my god, Lorerunner brand coffee. No, I've got it. I'll sell beer from my vagina. No, I'm not going to stop making fun of that. That's still extremely stupid. And frankly gross. And probably unsanitary, for being honest with ourselves. Yes, someone is actually doing that. That's the joke. Or I guess not the joke. What is it when it's like not a joke? It's just the nightmarish reality that we live in now. Sadness. That's the sadness. Listen, we all kneel before Evo and her pun mastery. Lore brand cocaine. It gets you going in the morning. Oh my god. Okay, that's okay. I can make this work. Or I could die instantly. Yes, death. Yes, I'm dead. Oh, thank god. Oh, okay. Oof. What are you... Why were you... I was trying to get a star, but I fell into this treasure chest. Let me tell you, it's even smaller than it looks. That thing is like 10 times your size, Captain Toad. Then again, QTEs were becoming big at this point in time, so... I mean, this game came out after Resident Evil 4, for a bit of perspective on that. And God of War 2. I can't believe my first try. Am I just good at video games? Is that what that is? You know, that's a good point. I can't call myself a professional reviewer because I'm actually good at video games. Run! Yes, I know. I know. Thank you. Really? Come on. That was actually seconds. Yeah, that would have been death if we failed there. We didn't have enough time for a second go. First try. Wait, it's you? That's it, Mario. I'm gonna stomp you into space bits as opposed to regular bits. I already told that joke, but it's worth telling a second time. You gonna be okay there, Luigi? It's okay, I'm just a bee! I'm here to kill you, Luigi. I'm here to destroy you. I'm just kidding, it's me. Hey, bro, I hid because of that big scary bug. I found the power star, so let's go home. You got it, Luigi. Got your back, bro. Oh my god, Eva. I didn't mean to be so horrible to him. Oh my god, paranoid android. Okay, so we'll put that towards Eelfin. Oh my god. Hang on a second. Towards the Eel de Centauri, Eel de Block, and Deus Ex Eel Revolution. Thank you for being part of the show, Paranoid. That's the observation deck, the pride of our galaxy. Wow, your whole galaxy has one observation deck. That's impressive. Can I just say, by the way, for all my hemming and hawing about how terrible and pathetic I am, it's really nice to cover a game that's just got solid gameplay top to bottom. Like just a game I could just gush about individual stars on individual levels because they do things that good. That well. Sorry, I just realized that sounds petty. I don't actually mean it that at all. Oh, no kidding, right? Okay. Because I know several people would prefer it if I go back to just covering the lore and the analysis and the video essay style of things. Which would obviously necessitate not talking about gameplay. I will never comment on the visuals or story of a game, ever. Ever! Unless that game is StarCraft 2 or God of War 5. Or Baldur's Gate 3, or Dragon Age Origins, or Dragon Age 2, or Dragon Age Inquisition. Okay, look, shut up. So welcome to Abstract Land. Population, I have no idea. You notice how the overall theme of this final world is screw it? No, seriously, like, we had a remix level, and now we have the toy chest level. The theme of the engine room stages is just whatever the hell we want to do. Now you're probably thinking, that's strange. I've never seen such a thing in a Mario game before. And if so, you've never played Super Mario World. How many of you caught that? No judgment. But it's one of my favorite little analysis moments about this game. So there's the special stages, which you access after the Star Road stages in Super Mario World. And the theme of those levels is, screw it, we're doing whatever the hell we want to. It's the optional hard stuff, right? Yeah, exactly, the tubular stuff and all that kind of stuff. I mean, look at this crap. There's like isolated gravity fields just on the pink stuff. This is great. Yeah, 3D. That's exactly my point, Pillars just now. From this point, pretty much onwards, it's actually very normal for Mario games to have that kind of an experience. Yeah, no, exactly. It's the super optionals of platforming. So that's our theme. Screw it. You know another thing I like about Mario games in general? I'm gonna laugh if this proves wrong. I'm gonna do a timestamp, okay? So, hang on. There we go. Timestamp for Mr. Red and or myself in the future. In case I am completely wrong about this. Ahem. You know what I like about Mario games in general? They don't overstay their welcome. Several Mario games are actually pretty long, especially if you go for all the content, which of course we're mostly doing because PFR. But they never really outstay their welcome. Most Mario games that are long enough, right? They are the correct amount of long. And most Mario games that are short shouldn't be longer because otherwise they'd probably suck. I mean, even Mario 64, which is a very problematic game, is actually really short, relatively speaking. Yeah, and even Sunshine was like 9 hours. And that game mandates doing some of its content because of how badly it's structured. It's still only 9 hours long. That's true, Players of Snow. I guess we'll see when we get there, because that's a matter of gameplay pacing at that point. Something I've already jotted down as a positive for this game, because I'm pretty sure it's going to get that positive. Yeah, we're going to need that. Okay. Oh, that was close. Did you see that? Huh. I'll take a flex on that. Wow. Okay, anyways. That's highlight material right there. Well, that was perfectly aimed. Jesus. Oh, thank God for mid-mission checkpoints, am I right? Oh, come on! You didn't see that. Come on. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no! Ah! Oh my God. Hi. Now that we've successfully done that jump and never failed at it, we're gonna slow-mo this because I'm not crazy. You're not supposed to slow-mo that, but I'm not crazy. Not a word. Not a word. What? What was that? Okay. Hope you like swimming in water that's only being contained in place by gravity. Yes! And just to demonstrate this super quickly. Just really quick. If you swim out of the water... Well, it's not going to let me over here. That's funny. Well, whatever. If you swim out of the water, you plummet. You're dead. Because, you know, there's nothing there. There's just water and then the eternal abyss. I mean, can you imagine you're just chilling on the beach and you take one wrong step and you plummet into the eternal abyss? Well, you know what? While we're here, let's see if we can die really quick. Yep, nope. It's a solid surface. Damn! It's this close to plummeting to my death. So this should be fun.
Bye-bye!
Well, that was pretty fun. I mean, being honest, 040, a lot of people, including me, tend to not consider me a game reviewer. Because I actually review games. And that's just sort of the life we live in right now. I've heard that. I've heard that from viewers many times. That I don't qualify as a game reviewer or a games journalist. Because I actually do my goddamn job. Not like I'm perfect or anything, but you know. It's not hard to be better than that nonsense. No, it makes perfect sense, Yura, because you just have to consider just how bad things have gotten for, you know, professional game reviewers. Yeah, I actually play a game to completion. I mean, how many of the reviewers of Baldur's Gate 3 actually beat that game? The professional game reviewers. Anyways, I'll stop flexing. It's just games journalists and professional game reviewers have pissed me off for years, and that was before it started becoming my job too. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm actually part of something, it tends to irritate me even more when other people do it so terribly. Yeah, they half-ass it, exactly. Reminds me of one of my favorite complaints about Mario 64 DS when that came out. There was a professional game review about it, which said, you know, honestly, this game just is nowhere near as good as the original. Which already is just kind of eyebrow-raising. So, hang on. Let me actually just pull this up for you rather than try to do it from memory. 1 second. A poorly conceived port of a perfect game. Pains me as a Mario fan to hand out less than superlative score to any version of such a classic, but the simple fact is all of Mario 64 DS's new additions can't overcome its problems. If I want to play Mario 64 again, I'll do it on a system it was designed for at about the 10th of a cost of a new DS. In the meantime, I'll hold out hope that the mysterious new Super Mario Bros. Title that was teased at E3 is what the Mario 64 DS should have been. Sure. And that is a professional games journalist. I'm pretty sure every Zelda game is going to score reasonably well, except one. There's one Zelda game I don't anticipate selling very well. Or, excuse me, reviewing very well.
Yes!
Now, what's funny is you're all saying Zelda 2, but actually that was a pun on purpose for once. All the Zelda games will do well except for one. Zelda 1. Get it? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stop. I should put that in the reel, because that's the worst joke I've told today. Believe it or not, I don't think 2 is going to score that badly. I don't think it's going to score particularly well. But I would not be surprised if 2 is a net positive. The game disagrees with me. I mean, Zelda 2 is kind of mean in general, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to get all elitist and be like, oh man, Zelda 2's super easy. I could beat it in my sleep. While flexing. And, you know, doing a marathon. Because I'm just so good, you guys. No. Zelda 2 is a hard game. Anybody says otherwise, it's just being a dick about it. But, there is a really, really big gap between that early part of the game and then that late part of the game. And yeah, but just my dick is so huge, you have no idea. Because I'm good at Zelda 2. And for no other reason.
Yes!
It was like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna kill Moro. The atmosphere of the observatory is honestly awesome. Oh, bullcrap, I I just failed. I just failed the frickin' thing. And then he's gonna murder us. As you always do when, you know, you beat someone in a race, you just murder them. God, I hate those things so much. They're like perfectly designed to screw you over, too. They're perfectly positioned just to be like, nah. Nah. What? Oh god, I got physicsed. I got physicsed. Did you see that? No! 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 I'm getting physicsed again. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay, there. Oh my god. Hi. My name's Lore. I suck at everything. Just gonna chill here. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Definitely not dead yet. Still not at the state of being horribly dead. It's just Mario cackling maniacally. Don't mind him. Did I just let the air out of the planet? Oh my god, I let the air out of the planet. Okay, we're okay. Okay. I apparently have destroyed a world. Just call me Samus. The purpose of seltzer water is to enjoy life to its fullest. To conquer all who stand before you. To crush them like the insignificant and miserable little bugs that... sorry. Seltzer water is there to be enjoyed. I love watermelon so much. I would kill everyone for watermelon. I would erase the planet. Just have one good slice of watermelon. Maybe not that much, but yeah, it's a lot. Just lots of death. I'm admittedly not a cocktail person, but that might be more tempting. I mean, there probably are worse intros, but to speak without hyperbole for a second, I hate the Enterprise intro. Like, actively despise. I hate it. I am so happy that people enjoy it and people like it. And I have gotten tons of comments about that over the years. But I gave that stupid intro 2 seasons worth of time and effort to grow on me. And it did not. I did my due diligence. As I am known for doing. I feel like they don't want me here. Anyone else get that vibe? Uh-oh, and we're dead. Yeah, the knockback is what kills you. Like that! Listen, there's no such thing as too much lore. That's a lie. Did you know that you can go watch my highlight reels? And it'll be cool. You can enjoy them. They'll be great. Go watch my highlight reels. Alright, so. Go watch the Lorecraft. Watch the rewrites. Watch the highlight reels. And then watch the stream. You can also watch the VODs. I'll accept that. That's a good question. Everyone in chat, what kingdom should we give to Evo to run? There's a lot of options there. There are lots of evil kingdoms, sure. But, like, we gotta pick a specific one. That's it. We'll give her Evilise. I love it. I love it. You win with the pun. That's just too on brand. Evil, you're now in charge of Evilise. Should I do the shortcut? Should I do the shortcut? Ah, too late. I'm going for it. Yeah. Oh, Jesus, and we're dead. Worth it. Okay, should we go for the shortcut? Yeah. Okay, should we go for the shortcut? It's okay, we can do this infinitely as long as I keep getting the life. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Yeah! Problem is your momentum cancels when you jump in a weird way. Hey! Yeah! Sorry. Now to die, now that we did that. Notice the pits, by the way? Just break your mind trying to think of there's pits in the lava. There's pits in the lava. But it's okay, because at the end, we don't have to go deal with the pits. We have to deal with just the pits. This is like the donut holes of lava land. Ah! I'm just going to put, like, a timestamp here in general. Alright, we got this, we got this, we got this! Yeah! Okay, okay. Like, you see how we slowed down so hard there? That's the problem I was talking about earlier. So any jump is like a huge momentum cancel. So we gotta take that into account when falling to our deaths! This is it, we got this. We got this. Ah! 15th try. You know, I don't know about you all. I don't think this is the kind of game I would have played when I was in elementary school. So, hang on, I'll do a clip right here. For those of you joining us on the highlight reels or on the VODs, we're about to do the hardest star in the entire game. Those of you watching at home, please feel free to get a guess in on how many attempts you think this is going to take me. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. So, this is the hardest boss in the game, with 1 health. Daredevil, Bouldergeist. Any mistake means starting the entire fight over. You have to hit him quite a few times, too. He's got more than your standard 3 hits.
Yes!
Yep, no Luma Shop, no nothing. There's also some RNG in this fight, and it's easy to die from essentially doing nothing wrong. I want both of these on one spin, so I can do that and that. And I can do this, get a 3rd hit in before he actually summons his first wall. And we're going to go ahead and grab this and get our first real hit in. There we go. Okay. 1 hit in. Now he's got hands. Now it gets much harder. He can punch at you. He can smack you. And most importantly of all, the hands get in the way of you hitting him with the bombs. So, back. He's going to do a lunge. He's going to get rid of one of the bombs. It sucks. But we still managed to get in there with 1 shot. Grab, and we're dead. Okay, so that's our first death. I got too greedy. I got too greedy. Shouldn't have gone for it. Oh, these do cost lives each time you do this. And we do start over all the way from scratch, like I said. Optional is never a defense for difficulty, or excuse me, for negativity or positivity. There's 2 hits again. Dodge, dodge, grab. Grab this guy as soon as he spawns, and right into him. First hit. But yeah, if we can't give negatives for something that's optional, we also can't give positives for something that's optional. And we can't review things that are optional. And then, worse than that, it gets into the debate of what is optional. Notice I'm going out of my way to pick up bits. That's because I need the lives. Okay, so that's not a great angle, but we can work with that. Boom! 2 hits. Alright. He's going to do a punch. Punches are ironically the most dangerous thing because of the angle of it. It's a little hard, at least for me and my dumb, stupid face. That, it's a a little hard to actually see these specific angles coming in at. So we're going to grab this. Oh, that was actually extremely close, but we didn't die, so I'm going to take it. We can also break those, get those out of the way. He's going to do another punch. Next thing should be summoning. Yep, there we go. So he's going to summon more. We're going to pause for a second, then we're going to learn left. We're going to grab immediately. Boom. And I want this as soon as he pops, so we can get right in his face. 2 hits. 1 death. Who guessed 1 death? Hell, just clip that whole fight, Mr. Red. I cannot believe I just 2-tried that, by the way. I am actually legitimately shocked that I just 2-tried that. I'm going to the one place that hasn't been tainted by communism. North Dakota! Alright, space! Yeah, you gotta say it right. Space! You're not allowed to steal my bed into your room.
Yes, I am.
I will steal your bed.
Here.
Wait, what is this?
It's a glow stick.
I'm not gonna eat a glow stick. Why do you want to feed me a glow stick?
I don't want to feed you it. I just wanted to look at it.
It looks pretty cool.
Look, it's white too.
Uh-huh.
It matches that part.
That's right. It's because I like white and black. See? White and black.
I'm sliding on it.
You're not allowed to slide.
Stop.
No, not socks. Anything but socks. No! Alright, we need to beat this level. You ready?
Yeah. You're a flying Mario?
Yep, we are a flying Mario, and now we've got to use the blue stars to navigate this. We've got to do this very quickly. Now we're dead. Because we were in too much of a hurry. We were defeated.
You go upside down.
Yep, we went upside down. But that's okay. It's okay, we can start from scratch. We got this time.
Stop.
There's no star here.
I don't stop.
Oh, you mean this star? That's me. That's me. I'm the blue star. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Let's go do the main thing everyone actually remembers this game for. I've been holding off on it this whole time.
Ooh.
Let us begin.
Chapter 1. Our story begins with a very, very long time ago, and a young girl. One day this girl spotted a rusted spaceship holding a small star child. What's your name? Are you lost? The girl asked the star child. I'm Luma, and I'm waiting for Mama. She's coming for me on a comet, said the star child, who had been waiting day and night. Don't worry, I'll wait with you, the little girl promised Luma. At nightfall, the little girl borrowed her father's telescope, just Luigi's, of course, and peered into the sky. She looked and looked, but saw nothing. Hours turned into days, and then years, but still the sky revealed nothing. Finally, the little girl sighed and said to Luma, If we stay here looking much longer, I'll be an old lady soon. But then she had an idea. Why don't we go out there and find your mother for ourselves? The girl and Luma fixed up the rusty spaceship, and the two set sail into the starry sky. And this is how the search for the celestial mother began. Days passed with no sight of the comet or even a single planet. Instead, asteroids extended for as far as the eye could see. If I'd known it was going to take this long, I would have packed more jam, said the little girl above the rumble of her belly. Before they left, she had packed all the essentials: telescope, butterfly net, stuffed bunny, bread, milk, jam, and apricot-flavored tea. But I forgot to bring water. At this, Luma burst into gales of laughter, and the girl began to pout. As long as I have starbits, I'll be fine, said Luma. You want some? The little girl couldn't stay mad after hearing this. Luma continued to laugh, and the girl couldn't help but join in. Alright, maybe just a nibble. Leaning out of the starship, the pair began to collect starbits with the girl's net. They almost fell out a few times, but they kept on collecting. The starbits tasted like honey. A beam of light pierced through the ship's window. Thinking it was the morning sun, the girl peered through the window only to find a turquoise-blue comet shimmering at her. The little girl shook the sleeping Luma and shouted excitedly, "We have to get to that comet!" The pair descended on the comet and found it was made of ice. They looked high and low, but Luma's mother was nowhere to be found. Exhausted, the little girl sat down with a plop, utterly unable to take another step. Look! Peering down at the icy ground where Luma was pointing, the girl suddenly noticed clusters of starbits encased in the ice. Pretty good, huh? Finding starbits is my specialty, said Luma, beaming. There's ice here, but it's so warm. But there's water here, too. The two decided to stay on the comet for a while. Riding the turquoise comet, the pair continued their search for Luma's mother. One night the girl dreamed about her own mother. "Where are you going?" she asked her mother's retreating back. Without turning, her mother replied, "Don't fret, dearest. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always watching over you, like the sun in the day and the moon in the night." A wave of sadness washed over the girl. What about when it rains, when I can't see the sun or the moon? Her mother thought for a moment before responding. "I will turn into a star in the clouds and wait for your tears to dry." When she awoke, the girl's face was damp with tears. "You have starbits in your eyes," said Luma to the girl. Wiping her face, the girl replied, "These are tears, not starbits. I am crying because I will never see my mother ever again." At this, Luma began to cry too. The pair traveled through the starry skies, and though they encountered many other comets, not one of them held Luma's mother. Luma was despondent. Now, Luma. The rain clouds won't go away if you keep crying. I'll give you a present if you stop. The girl closed her eyes and said gently, "I will take care of you." And with these words, she felt a small spark in her heart. The kitchen will go here. The library will go over there. We'll put the gate here. Ever since the girl took Luma under her care, she'd been bustling about at a feverish pace. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it to make a happy home. It turned out that starbits weren't the only thing buried in the ice. There were tools and furniture, unlike they had ever seen, and the girl used them to build a home. Looking at the completed house, Luma remarked, "Don't you think it's awfully big for just the two of us?" With the library, bedroom, kitchen, fountain, and gate, it was certainly spacious, but still something seemed to be missing. If only my father and brother and mother were here. Indeed, the house was too large for its two small residents. That night, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny close to her heart, the girl fell asleep in the starship. Then one day, while the girl sat sipping tea, a tiny apricot-colored planet appeared on the horizon. From the planet, another Luma of the same color emerged. "Do you two know each other?" the girl asked. Despite the girl's excitement, they seemed uneasy. The two Lumas neither drew closer nor backed away from each other. They just stared, and one Luma broke the silence. "Mama!" At once, the apricot Luma parroted back, "Mama, Mama!" The two Lumas began to dance around the girl frantically, and neither showed any sign of stopping. The girl was so charmed by this adorable scene she couldn't help but laugh, and that's when something very strange happened. Suddenly, more Lumas began to pop out from the apricot planet. They were different colors, but they all shouted the same thing. "Mama! Mama!" The sight of all of the shouting Lumas only made the girl laugh harder. "What am I going to do with all of these children?" The Lumas just stared blankly as she doubled over laughing. "I guess we'll have to name each and every one of you. Tomorrow, when she had finished naming them all, She began moving all the Lumas into the new house. After seeing their 100th comet, a sudden thought popped into the girl's head. I wonder if my home planet is still as blue as it was. That's when she remembered her father's telescope. Peeking under the telescope, a tiny blue dot floated into sight. It was smaller than a starbit. Strange. It's so far away, but it feels so close. She twisted the knob of the telescope, and the blue dot grew until she could make out a grassy hill dotted with flowers. It seemed very familiar to her. Zooming even closer, a terrace and a hill came into view. I used to go stargazing there when I lived on my home planet. She remembered rubbing the sleep out of her eyes as she followed her father up that hill to look at the stars. She remembered how she and her brother would sled down that hill. She remembered having picnics with her mother on that hill on the bright and windy days. And I want to go home. I want to go home right now. The girl burst into tears, and the Lumas didn't know what to do. I want to go home. I want to go back to my house by the hill. I want to see my mother. She was shouting now, her face wet with tears. But I know she's not there. I know all along because she wasn't in the sky, because she's sleeping. Under the tree on the hill. The girl's cries echoed over the stars, and a hush fell over the area. And yeah, to see the end of that, we're going to have to actually go beat the game really quick. Fortunately, that's the next thing we're going to go do. I'm not a big fan of using tales to tell a story, for obvious reasons. But I'm okay with... I'm said that wrong. I'm not a big fan of tales and statement. But I'm a bigger fan of using a tale to tell a story. And that's what we just saw. That was an in-universe tale being used to tell what actually happened from the perspective of a child. Like most tales would be. Or rather, like most kids' tales would be. But the catch there, the thing that salvages that for me, is those events actually happened. Not exactly as presented. But, you know. Listen, I don't like tales, Eva. What do you want from me? Tales are bad! Nobody likes tales. Nobody! Everyone likes Knuckles instead. If the recent movie is any indication. Oh, he's not doing it. Looking for Peach? Who? Oh yeah, I guess we were playing this game to save Peach, weren't we? Sorry, I got wrapped up in trying to save the galaxy. Who's this lady? No, don't get all fangasmy about Jack Black. This is not the best song in the world. This is just a tribute. From this galaxy, I'll rule a great galactic empire. With Peach by my side, it'll last forever. I will rule every pitiful corner of the universe. So, Mario, as you can see, I got big plans, and stomping you is at the top of my list. Now, this is a little bit silly, but I just gotta tell you right now, the main plot of Mario Galaxy 2 is that Bowser grows super huge, and so he needs someone to bake him a cake that is suitable for someone as large as he is. So, he kidnaps Peach so she could bake him a super large cake. No, I'm not making that up. It does, though! It does sound like Bowser! Like, Galaxy 2 is kind of a shame in the fact that it essentially has no plot. But at least that sounds more like Bowser, you know? Oops, way too early. I shouldn't have gotten that. I turned to the GM. No! Don't give me the pity hit. I don't deserve that. I didn't earn that. Round 3. Really getting into it now. Listen to this frickin' song. I remember the first time I ever heard this song, I was just blown away. Like, what? What is this doing in a Mario game? Which is funny, because I had a similar reaction in Odyssey years and years later. Time. I love that outro. That's a great last stage and a great last boss. Pluses. I'm also cutting off the guessing game now. My galaxy! My empire! This can't be happening! And, well... that's actually a pretty logical consequence. There's a central theme in Mario Galaxy. The idea behind it is rebirth. Death forming new life. Or however you want to think of that. Do you hear the baby stars? These newborns will grow up to become galaxies someday. When stars die, they turn to stardust and scatter across the cosmos. Eventually, that stardust reforms to create a new star, and the cycle of life continues. But the cycle never repeats itself in quite the same way. So, we'll see. Hey, it's me. Rosalina accidentally into becoming a steward of the stars and the cosmic cycle. But she's not at a deity level or an angelic level or anything like that. Her lifespan is a little bit warped because of the constant time dilation she goes through, but that's it. All new life carries the essence of stars, even all of you.
Ah. Welcome! Welcome, new galaxy!
Well, essence, take a drink. I'm glad you liked it. I hope everyone liked this run. I don't know if I should get real with you for a moment. I don't know, do you think I should? Some people have already heard me say this. A couple of nights ago, I had what I can only refer to as a really unpleasant mental health problem. Yeah, I said I'd be real. I got a bit of a depression spike. Now, for those of you not aware, I don't actually suffer from depression. I don't have chemical depression. But I do have fairly, like what most people have. I have situational depression, environmental depression. And this has been a rough year. I have several very major stressors on my life right now that are unresolved. And I'm still just kind of... I don't really have a plan in mind for that, which is kind of part of why that's such a stressor. I'm not trying to complain, I apologize. The point being that I'm having a bit of an issue lately. Thankfully, you know, having a good job and having good family and friends has been helping, so thank you for that. I'm not telling you that, though, to be like, oh, I suck. Instead, I just want to get across the baseline, okay, before we talk about the actual problem up here. Because the actual problem up here is that I had the thought that I can't do my job anymore. Don't mistake me, I actually have confidence in my ability to review and to play games well. I'm good at that. I have proven that. I have proven that recently. I proved that with StarCraft 2. I prove that consistently, and that's what tends to help me deal with these kind of mental episodes, is proof. Proof positive to the contrary, right? That's the thing that gets me out of that, knocks me out of it. But the worry I had was that I can't be entertaining anymore. I was worried that I am sacrificing the entertainment value of my streams in service of the review and the playing, right? Because I don't feel particularly entertaining. Because I don't feel like I've been really doing my job particularly well lately. The reason I thought that was I was thinking in my head, and I was like, well, I can't think of any stream that's good. There's no good streams. Now, that's a bit of a mental trap. Because one of the reasons I like to be so specific with statistics and hard data is because mental psychological traps tend to be very, very easy to fall into. If you go to work and you're worried about doing a good job at your work, so you ask people, and a couple of people say, oh yeah, you're not doing a good job, then the only feedback you're getting percentage-wise is that you're not doing a good job. So your mind tends to kind of catalog itself as thinking, I'm not doing a good job. But if you actually look at the hard data of the job you're doing, and you could say, this project succeeded, this went well, this was under budget, you know, and you could actually prove objectively and factually with stats, right, that you are doing a good job. But we get trapped in that mental mindset of vagueness, is what I tend to think of it as. There's those vagaries where because of various possible, mostly psychological reasons, we think something that is fundamentally not true, that we can prove is not true. This is why I prefer to have hard data rather than just giving a vague, I like a game or I don't, because it's too easy to fall into those psychological traps like I did just the other night. Because when I ripped that out of myself and forced myself to look at every stream I've done and run back through them in my head, I realized that actually I can break this down to two specific streams. Really going through the hard data, I realized that I'm probably not as entertaining as I'd like to be. But I have put out several very entertaining streams recently. I'm sorry, that sounds egotistical, but that's not the way I mean it. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But there are two specific streams that have been serving as what I can only refer to as headlights in my memory. Like, I look back at the last 7 months of streaming, and there's only two streams I'm seeing because their glaring light is so bright that I'm not seeing all the other stuff I've been doing. Does that make sense? And I can tell you what those two streams are, because they're Baldur's Gate 3 and Dragon Age Inquisition. Those have been such glaring lights in my memory that I am currently still, as of this week, recovering from that. Because those games were honorously long and very, very taxing. And I got a lot of negative feedback on both, which I'm still getting, by the way. Not like from normal people, but like I still get negative comments about those two streams periodically. So I do think that was that. And so I was able to kind of just deconstruct the whole thing in my brain. Right? Wrong. Because, hang on, maybe that's not true as well. And I told you this earlier. I kind of gave you a bit of foreshadowing there, because the way that I can beat my own depressive issues, my depressive spikes, that was a good way to put that, whoever said that, is with facts. If I get freaked out that I'm not a good streamer, the thing that beats that is being a good streamer. And honestly, this Galaxy run has freaking nailed it, if I can be honest here. This has been a fun run. Not just a fun game, but a fun run. A fun stream. There's been a lot to discuss. We've discussed game design. We've discussed narrative. We've discussed how to approach it. We've discussed how Nintendo does their whole thing. We've just been chatting this whole time. I haven't felt there's any dead periods of time. There's been no points where it's just like, you know, oh my god, what am I even saying? The run has been a good run, and that... The reason I said I wanted to get real here for a moment is that's such a relief. That is such a relief. To not... Because the worst thing... You know what it feels like. You know what it feels like. The worst thing is to have the opposite happen, right? When you're like, oh man, maybe I'm a terrible streamer, and then you have a terrible stream, right? You know, when something proves that you're right, you know, about what it is that's depressing you, that's just the worst feeling. Yeah, and then you start screaming into the void, exactly. So I was really, really worried walking into Mario Galaxy 1. I was really, really worried that I really was incorrect, that that I'm not a good streamer, and that I really have lost my prime, and that I really am not good enough. So I hope, because I think that a lot. No, y'all are awesome. I've said that for years. Y'all are awesome. Though usually quite cheery, one day the girl became sad again. Luma drew close and tried to comfort her. Mama, you still have me. And don't be sad about your mama, because she's a part of you. That means she's always close by. It's like me. I love Starbits because they remind me of my mama. No, no, the girl said, unable to stop the tears. A lonely look flickered across Luma's face, but it was soon replaced by a grin. I have an idea. I'll transform into a comet. A soaring comet that can carry you on this journey. With that, the Luma, trailing bands of white, soared high into the sky and just as quickly started to plummet back down. The ground shook and a bright light poured out of the crater that the Luma had created. The bands of light twisted together to form a comet's tail, and the Luma emerged, reborn, as a comet. The girl could scarcely believe her eyes. But how? She kept asking. Our destiny as Lumas is to transform into different things. Stars, comets, planets, we can become all these things. When I grow up, I want to become a star that makes someone special smile. That Luma turned into a real cutie of a comet, didn't he? All of the Lumas together said, "No more crying, Mama." "Thank you," said the girl in a whisper, and pulled the Lumas close and hugged them. From that day on, the starbits no longer fell from the girl's eyes. The comet set forth for the girl's home planet, its long tail blazing proudly behind it. Final chapter. Family. With its many lumas and telescopes, the comet was quite a sight to behold. The girl and the lumas were proud to call it home. At a welcoming party for a new luma, the girl gathered everyone in the kitchen and said in a louder voice than usual, "All right, everyone, let's make a cake sprinkled with star bits, and then it'll be a star cake." The lumas excitedly began to gather all the ingredients. As she watched the lumas scurry about, the girl smiled and thought to herself, "This is my family now, and I will stay with them until they are ready to leave the nest. And when they do leave, I will see them off with a smile." because that's what makes a mother happiest. That night, when the girl lay down to sleep, a soft light enveloped her and reminded her of the blue planet she once called home. But it would be nice to return home, once every 100 years, to nap in my favorite sleeping nook. The comet carrying the Lumas and the girl continues on its journey to this very day. With more family members in tow than can be counted, it's said that the comet visits the girl's home planet once every 100 years, its proud white tail glittering in the sky.
That's all.
My story is finished. And yes, it really is funny. Obviously we get a little bit of a stylized take on that, based on no, I noticed, Sean. Based on interviews and whatnot, but by all accounts, that story you just read was one man's fervent desire to get some kind of story in a Mario game. Some kind of backstory, some kind of world building. Plus 71 to gameplay. Now, the golden number formulas are going to be changed soon, just as a heads up, for those who are not aware of that. But that doesn't change the core review. So, we're not going to really change the guessing game until the review formulas have changed. I'm only telling you that because if you, in the future, if you look and you're like, oh my god, the score has changed, that's why. Mario Galaxy 1. Can I get a drum roll, please, in advance? Plus 9 to story? That's actually still half a positive per hour, which is not exactly shabby. Short game. And 90% ratio, which is great. 71 pluses to gameplay, which is almost 5 pluses per hour. Yeah, it tracks. And a 95% ratio, which is bonkers. Leaving us with a golden number of 191.68. A really freaking good game. We all know what kind of a score IGN would give this game. 2 out of 10. Too many eels.